everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Fourtress of, a podcast about movies, TV shows, video games, and lots of pop culture and nerd things. My name is Oscar. I'll be one of your hosts today, and with me per usual are two of your other hosts. We have Brian, aka New Reliable, also known as Mr. Negative on our Dragon Ball Z Redemption arc, and Devin, also known as Mr. Nowhere.
Yo.
We're all here. How are y'all doing today?
Will I ever be redeemed? Is that a thing?
How long did it take Vegeta to get redeemed?
Damn, that shit was like 2 episodes.
I expected it to be like 40.
Yeah. Doing okay, guys. Doing good.
Devin had a medical scare earlier today.
Oh, no. Wait, what?
Hydration's important. Make sure you hydrate
Christ.
before you go out and do things, or else you might have an acute kidney injury.
My man was so dehydrated, his kidneys shut down, and he had to go get that taken care of.
I was about to say, I was going to guess that, or are you peeing rocks right now?
Oh, God.
No, not that. Not that. Just needed an IV, and make sure you drink water.
Drink water, kids.
It's important.
Always drink water.
Drinking an uncomfortable amount of water every day. That's like it's not like drink water. It's like, no. Drink so much water that you're a little uncomfortable, like bloated, but also
you're a little bloated, yeah.
But not apparently water toxicity is like 6 glasses per hour, and ain't nobody doing that shit.
Yeah. It's hard to poison yourself from drinking water, but it has happened. People have died from it.
Yeah. So somewhere between that and 0, more
somewhere between dehydration and killing yourself from drinking too much water. Find a safe middle ground.
Yeah, somewhere more towards the killing yourself with water. Lean towards that, but also
not too close.
Right.
Not too far.
Anyway.
Well, we're glad you're alive and well, Devin.
Oh, what a start.
With that, guys, should we just hop right into our first segment of the week?
Let's do it.
Oh, boy. I'm excited for these headlines.
Hell yeah.
News talk.
First piece of news. Well, let's start with the one that I think we're not very shocked by, but we're very happy about, is Barbie officially made $1 billion roonies.
Look at all them doubloons, baby.
The Flash is crying right now.
God, that's what the Flash wanted to be. So bad.
Yeah, man. Barbie fucking did it. Like, I think a lot sooner than even most people. Like, I don't know if I said it on the podcast last week when we talked about, or whatever, we talked about Barbie. I was like, I definitely think it would. But it definitely happened very quickly. I was like, oh, shit, there you go.
This makes more sense to me than anything that happened with James Cameron's ass. Because I actually see people going to this fucking movie. I don't know anybody.
True.
I don't know anybody that saw fucking Avatar except for you guys.
A movie has to have one color. So Avatar is all blue. Barbie's all pink. So you need to have your movie just be one color, and you're going to make $1 billion.
Make $1 million, just like
what
that.
Color would Endgame and Infinity War be then?
Gray.
And Endgame's definitely gray.
Endgame is gray as fuck.
Yeah, I love this. I love this headline. This is great. It's good. Good to have a movie. Good to have feminism brought to the masses in such a way.
A new, not a new IP, but just like a new thing-ish in terms of storytelling.
It's refreshing. It's a refreshing movie to watch. I went to the movie theaters today. There's still people coming out here dressed up to watch Barbie. Like it's day one. Like it just came out this weekend, but it hasn't. It's been 3 weeks right by now, right? It's 3-4 weeks. That's crazy to me. That's crazy. This movie is a phenomenon that's going to be talked about for a while. And we're going to learn all the wrong things from this movie coming out. And I hate that.
Yep. That's what I was going to say. I just can't wait for all the bad movies that are going to follow Barbie of like, yay, feminism, but they're not going to be good.
Let's get into it. That leads right into segue perfectly into our next headline. Crayola. The people that make crayons are planning on on making a movie according to deadline. So what the hell are they gonna what are they
Speechless. I'm speechless as well. I don't understand. What the fuck is
dude? What if it just like Barbie were underestimated and they actually turned it into something like deep
2 billion
and good and like it's actually like, oh my god, I can't. The Crayola movie was so good.
I gonna say right now on the record, that's just not gonna happen. That's just not gonna happen. This movie's gonna be ass.
Are they gonna actually have it be like Crayola crayons are the characters, like kind of like the Emoji Movie, or is it gonna be like?
I hope it's a story about the pink crayon going to the real world, having to figure things out.
It's the same movie, but it's just the Crayola crayon.
But it's just the crayon. It's just the story of a crayon.
Oh man, yeah. Who knows, man?
Yeah. What the hell? This is almost as bad as Battleship, but at least Battleship. You can't really see that movie's also real bad and dumb, but it's like there's a element to that. This is next the sequel, Sharpie.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. It feels like, I mean, Mattel just was sitting on this. Their strategy is they're going to be more Mattel property movies because like Barbie was just the first one. But it feels like these companies are just kind of realizing like, hey, we can just make money. Like movies are a good way to make money with the IP that we have. So if you can make it something, it doesn't even have to be good necessarily, but like just throw something together and make a movie out of it, and that's a couple million right there. So it just seems like companies are just kind of gravitating towards making movies out of every little piece of nostalgia that they can.
Oh yeah, that's not going away for at least the next 10 years when we finally destroy that and make everybody pissed about their old favorites.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it also looks like they're making a studio that's gonna make like other things as well. But I really want to see them take a crack at this crayon movie.
I don't. I stay away from my crayons, man. Because
this sounds like a YouTube sketch,
right? Like what are you doing?
I don't know.
Tetris is bad enough. What are you doing?
Yeah. All right. Next piece of news, Devin. I know you were reading this earlier and you were very excited about this. Fucking, not gonna even attempt to not pronounce his name, but I'll say his last name. It's a lot easier. Sapkowski, the writer of the Witcher series of books, is writing another book. I think the last one he wrote was in 2013. So it's been a decade since his last book, and that book wasn't even part of the it was like a side story that didn't pertain to anything in particular.
Right.
But apparently this new one that he's writing will continue the adventures. So that's exciting. I'm definitely excited to read another book in this series. Considering no spoilers, but I definitely one of those people that thinks the ending leaves things very not complete. For some parts.
I mean, that's the weird thing, right? Is like if he does it, so the Season of Storms, the most recent one that he wrote, was a prequel, like 12 years before the events of The Witcher, or something like that. But it was just a happy, prequel story. It's just like easy cash in on like people just loving The Witcher, right? But if he does continue the story, does he continue it from where the books left off, or does he continue it from where, and just maybe pick some decisions from the games and just pick up after the games? Because I think that would be really cool, is if he just decided on which ending he picked.
I don't know if he gives a shit about the games though. I'm pretty sure.
Probably not.
I'm pretty sure when he told CD Projekt Red they could do it, I was like, he had no faith that it would be a success.
Well, right, but now that it is, it's like, and I know his relationship with them isn't the best, or at least it wasn't at one point, because he wanted, because of that, what you just said, like his original deal was not very good with them.
Right.
And so now that The Witcher blew up, like he wanted more money. So there was some toxicity at one point. But I think if that relationship has been repaired, I don't know. I just think I would love to see him take it up after the Witcher games and just kind of, give me like, okay, what ending would Sapkowski have picked at the end of Witcher 3? Like, what would he have set in motion to get whatever ending?
That's interesting. That would be interesting.
And then carry it forward. Again, the games end it pretty climactically and pretty solid. Depending on what you do, it's a pretty solid ending. So it's like, what story, what other stories could you tell? I think honestly, it'll probably just be another side story or something. But but I'll still read it.
Possible. I will. Yeah, I'm excited to get back into that. Sounds fun. Sounds cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right, last piece of news. This is just another reason to love Obama as a human being. Apparently, this comes from a Smash Bros. Community organizer named Cody Daniels, who said he met Obama in 2015. Apparently, Obama's Captain Falcon main, which is one of my favorite characters. So yeah, props to you, Obama.
Boo,
it's a great choice.
Fuck both of y'all.
It's a great choice.
And somehow it makes so much sense. Like I can't explain it. I'll be taking no questions. But he just looks like a Captain Falcon main. You know what I mean? He just has that look of someone as a Captain Falcon main.
Of someone who's smart and successful in the world? Yeah, exactly.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like a head of state, you got to pick. I feel like Captain Falcon's not a bad pick. But other than that, they just go with like stock Mario or Luigi, maybe.
There's no way they're playing Luigi. They definitely play Mario.
Definitely not Luigi. But they're like, which one's the main character? Mario? Yep. Yeah.
Devin, you were saying you and Brian were talking about what other presidents' mains would be.
Yeah.
So how far deep into that conversation did you guys
go? I said Donald Trump would play Jigglypuff because fuck him.
Yeah.
Or he'd play like Ice Climbers or something like that. Just something real shitty.
Dude, but he would cheat. He would rage quit too. Okay, like he's edited his golf scores at some of his golf resorts to like be lower. So that he's going to rage quit. Like, or we would all just gang up on him and knock him out first.
Oh, yeah. He's going out first for sure. And I want him to cry about it, too.
Biden, I think, is going to play Kirby, and then still find a way to just fall. I don't think he's going to do too well.
Biden's holding the wrong controller. He's holding the PlayStation controller.
I was about to say, yeah.
we gave him the one that's unplugged. And we're just like, you're doing great.
Oh, no.
I'm trying to think of anybody else.
I mean, like, yeah, do we want to go real old school? Like we would have to, like, if we brought Lincoln back, we would have to explain to him what a TV and what Smash Bros was. I think his head would explode. But after that, his head would explode a second time. Sorry. All right.
Oh, no.
Sorry.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm so sorry.
Zing.
His mind would be blown for the second time. Oh, Lord. Okay, wait. Who would Putin play as?
Oh, no, we don't want to upset them.
He's picking Ness for sure, no question.
No, ice climbers. It's cold.
Oh.
Ice climbers.
Well, wait, isn't Snake in there at one point?
Yeah.
Isn't Snake in Super Smash?
Mm-hmm.
There you go. I think he'd play a Snake.
Take a solid Snake?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Cold War vibes, isn't...
I mean,
no.
Yeah, I guess so. That's true.
Wait, is Snake American or Russian?
He's
American, so...
Oh.
Oops.
I kind of thought he was Russian.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Well, I take it back. But he's still like the most machismo, kind of like 1980s. Like Putin wants to be like, Arnold Schwarzenegger. So
right.
Snake is kind of the closest to that. So I think even if he is American, he would just say he's Russian and play.
He picks the character not knowing the story behind the character for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely.
But just purely based off appearance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, that's fun. That's really good. I definitely think like George Washington would be like which Smash character looks the most like a slave owner?
Oh, Jesus.
Kirby for sure.
Yeah. I don't know. It's a tough one. I was gonna say Boris Johnson. He's not a prime minister anymore, but he would just play as like the stick man, like the
Mr. Game & Watch or someone else.
The one that's like a drawing.
Honestly, yeah, Mr. Game & Watch. I think that being like the oldest creation on the planet.
Something dumb
that's
like that.
That's definitely a slave owner character.
Yeah. He is black though, technically.
That's also true. That's a good point. Interesting.
Damn, man. It would be a terrible game of Super Smash with all those people. They'd all be really bad.
Yeah, they would just all fall off they'd play like you.
Also,
nightmare blunt rotation.
Is Obama playing online with people, or is this just like him playing with like his daughters and his
Probably
and
playing
his
with his kids, yeah.
I mean, they said N64, so he's only playing the OG.
Oh, I didn't know that. That also kind of fits though. I feel like new controllers, new consoles, that's just too much. But Obama's got time. I feel like he could be a Last of Us kind of guy. He's got time, man. He's retired. He reads a lot of books. I mean, he could definitely get into some Breath of the Wild.
Go tweet him. Tell him that.
Yeah.
We should. But if he played online, like if he had a gamer tag, like what if you're playing like Call of Duty and like you got killed by somebody and it's like, yep, suck it, bitch.
He's top B one shot.
Get good.
Get
good. I fucked your mother. Okay, anyway.
No. The thing is, like, that someone has like a voice modulator that actually does that.
Absolutely, with AI voices now. Absolutely, 100%.
Oh yeah,
that is a real thing that actually happens on the internet.
But like, dude, if I played with Obama, that'd be a pretty wild time.
That'd be life goals right there. Yeah.
Sure.
I'd have to win. You can't hold back. You got to win.
I don't think he would enjoy like Call of Duty and stuff. I think he'd be like Alex. Like he would only get enjoyment out of like adventure-y kind of games. Like I feel like Call of Duty, he would be thinking about all the the real shit,
the real life, the worst,
the real war.
Yeah, he'd be thinking about all the geopolitical consequences of like what would happen if like Spetsnaz fought Green Berets or something, whatever the matchups can be. And
man ain't thinking about that.
Right.
He's teabagging noobs. The fuck?
Not my problem now.
Oh man, that's fun though. Fun little nugget of information about our former president.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we got one more piece of news to quickly get to, but for that we have to head to the trailer park. So let's go.
Mom's Spaghetti.
Speed round.
Alrighty. Random trailer that I didn't know this was in production actually happening. Fucking I Am Groot's getting a season 2. What the fuck? I thought we were done with the Guardians after the third movie.
We need some nice light content, I guess.
I think so too. Getting 5 new shorts. I'm excited, man. I liked season 1. I thought it was cute.
It was better than I expected. I won't lie.
It's like a 20-minute watch total.
Yeah, right. I love that. Right. I still haven't watched through all of Secret Invasion because it's kind of long. Yeah. It's kind of long. Like not many episodes, but it's just like, damn, I don't know. Give me the 20
Especially
minutes.
Knowing that it's not very good. Yeah, it's not very enticing to want to finish it.
Right.
Wait, don't spoil Guardians 3 for me, but isn't Groot like a big tree now?
Yeah.
So the cuteness factor won't be there.
No, he's still baby Groot in these shorts, which is why I'm So I'm assuming they're all gonna be always baby Groot. You know?
Gotcha.
Yeah, man, we gotta sell the toys. Come on, bro.
Yeah. No one wants to see big Groot adventures. Yeah, so that's cute. That's fun. I'm glad they're doing it. We're still in, fucking. I would love to see the paycheck Vin Diesel's getting for this shit.
Oh my gosh. Speaking of famous people that do stuff, Vin Diesel used to play World of Warcraft.
Does he not anymore?
I assume not. I assume he doesn't have the time.
Is it too about family? He didn't have time for it?
Yeah, he's too busy trying to make a 37-part super series.
That's hilarious. Yeah, very fun, very cool. That is the end of the news, guys. We did it once again. Shall we now hop into our main topic of the week?
Yeah, do it.
Let's do it.
We're trapped into the Fourtress. There's a Fourtress this week that really kind of encompasses a lot of different genres of video games because we don't, and we'll talk about it. We don't really know what an RPG is at this point. Which is why we're gonna try to figure that out this week because we're in the Fourtress of
role-playing games, RPGs. Ooh. Is the term JRPG racist?
I don't know, but it's definitely offensive or in some way. Yeah, listeners. So we're gonna spend the next however many minutes kind of figuring out and talking about RPGs, video game RPGs. Number 1, Call of Duty. They have a big bazooka RPG. No, I'm just kidding.
Best RPGs. Call of Duty's RPG. It's good.
Oh, God.
No, we're going to talk about like Brian said, the role-playing game genre of video games, which encompasses at this point many, many different things. And so throughout this, we're just we'll rattle off some of our favorites, obviously, but we'll also just kind of shoot the shit for a little while, just talk about some game stuff. We haven't done something like this in some time.
Mm-hmm.
Also, because Brian brought this up, Baldur's Gate 3 came out. I got it right here, guys. I went to the store and bought it. It's right here. Here we go.
What store did you find that at?
I've never heard of Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance. What the fuck is that?
Really? You've never heard of Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance? Come on, man. Come on, man.
What store did you find a PS2 game?
Oh, I mean, I've had this for a while. I just had to go rummage it up.
That's so funny. I don't think I've played this game.
I did. It was pretty decent. I never beat it because I was a young child and got bored very quickly.
That's fair.
But it was fun when I played it.
Nice.
I definitely got this game probably for like $4 because it's listeners. If you don't know, PlayStation 2 has, at least in the PS2 era, had these games called Greatest Hits, which after a game was out for a while and it was a good game, they put like the red tag on the top of it instead of the black one. And those games were always $20 or less, and it was the best thing in the world.
And that was the only time I got to buy video games.
Oh, man. Good old days.
Back when EB Games was a thing.
Oh, rest in peace.
Did 360 do that? 360 did something similar to that. I don't know if the Xbox did stuff like that, but 360, I remember. Greatest Hits,
no idea.
Like that. Back when you bought games in person.
Right? So yeah, I mean, Brian or Devin, how do you want to start this conversation?
Let's talk about how the shit changed, what a fucking RPG is anymore.
Right?
Yeah.
Because it's definitely become a thing that's so AAA games are like the pop music of video games, of course, in that they just steal everything from good music and then turn it into some kind of Frankenstein of something different. And I feel like the new big thing, it used to be open world, which it still exists. Open world was every AAA game got to have an open world. Now it seems like every AAA game has to have RPG elements, quote unquote RPG elements, which usually means something along those lines of like increasing your character's power, leveling up, inventory management, skill tree, things like that. Fucking the most recent Sonic had RPG elements. It had a whole skill tree and shit like that.
Why? What?
Yeah, there's a whole skill tree in that game. Which makes no sense.
Run faster.
Because that is actually one of the things that you did. You could make it so you could run fast in the open world.
Fucking dumb.
Yeah, it was not necessary. But in a AAA game, it seems like it's always necessary. You got to put that stuff in there.
Yeah.
Well, I think in more recent years, just like all shooters have kind of become the same game, right? It's like RPGs, they learn from each other. And then the biggest ones, they just copy the shit out of whatever like the good ones are. But yeah, I mean, it feels like they used to be more unique. But now it feels like, like you say, like everything, oh, it's like, okay, I can find a similar system, a similar progression system in any RPG that I pick up nowadays. Whereas like in the old days, it's like some of them were really goofy and kind of not user friendly, but they were unique. I just feel like we kind of lost some of that originality nowadays, where you just step in, it's like, oh, okay, this system is basically the same as every other system.
Yeah. And I think there's pros and cons to that. I think on like one end, it's where the audience is different. You know what I mean? Like people just play video games different, exist in video games different. People usually don't like something that's really intensive and annoying and hard to understand and confusing, which like Mass Effect 1's a good example of it. The change between Mass Effect 1 and Mass Effect 2. Mass Effect 1 is probably the closest to an RPG that Mass Effect ever was. Mm-hmm. Inventory management was really big in that game, and it fucking sucked.
Right. No inventory management.
No one some people love inventory management. For some people, that's like a really interesting thing to them. I couldn't give a fuck less. Take it away from me. I don't want it. I hate that kind of aspect of the game. And I think as that changes, people just don't have the brain or the mind for those kinds of things anymore.
I feel like it's that, or at least for me, it's a time thing. I don't have the time to want to look at a fucking Wikipedia to figure out how to do this the best way. Cause I'm like, no, I don't have time for that. Just give me the best build so I can play this fucking game.
Right.
Dude, I'm telling you, like Witcher 3, okay, arguably one of the best RPGs of all time. Inventory system was garbage. Like it was so not user friendly. It was so complex. It would take forever to load. That was like the one thing with that game is like, man, this is terrible. But I feel like inventory systems mostly are. Like most of the time it's just like,
I just hate min-maxing stuff. It's just like and I get like there are definitely people who that is their shit. They love to fucking get into the weeds and figuring out what synergies there are. I don't care.
So it depends on the game.
I just
for me.
don't care.
I'm kind of like that, where it really like if I find that like the skill tree system, for example, that's a pretty big RPG staple. Something that makes your character different, and giving you a little more customization around it. I love to find a way to break shit in games like that. I'm the person that'll just put like 100 points in dexterity and just see what the fuck happens. You know what I mean? Like see what happens when I do that kind of thing. Because it can be really fun. You can make like really interesting builds and do really interesting things like that. I wish like Diablo, for example, is RPG. It's a action RPG. I kind of hate that like that game kind of limits you. Like it has a huge skill tree. Only a couple are going to be viable when you get towards in game, or it's just you don't get to have any fun, and that sucks because it kind of takes away my sense of identity that I get to create myself, which I feel like is a really important part of a role playing game is being able to do my thing. I don't know. There's not really a point to what I'm saying. I'm just saying that I enjoy it, and I kind of hate that. I kind of hate the games that are kind of taking that away as they're getting more streamlined, because it's definitely you can tell what the cookie cutter build is kind of supposed to be in most games that you play now. That sucks.
Yeah,
right. I mean, like it's for example, like Skyrim, like you were talking about how like if you put 100 points in sneaking in Skyrim, you can do whatever the fuck you want.
You can still right in front of people's faces.
it's kind of hilarious and broken.
Yeah, but I feel like a good RPG should have some bugs, some fun bugs that like it should be. Well, I guess an open world RPG should have some bugs, but not ones that break the game. There is some
delight to that. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, like with Skyrim, it's always like, that's a fun bug. I'm stuck with this thing that I picked up for a quest that I didn't, receive yet. So now I'm just stuck with 10 pounds on my. Sorry, I might be oversharing too much just in my own playthrough.
Was this from experience that this happened to you?
Yeah. But that's the thing. It was so big that like you're gonna get kind of glitches like that, and that's fine because it's worth it for the overall experience.
That's why I'm so interested in Starfield, because it's just it's another super huge Bethesda game, so I get to feel that like Skyrim feeling again. Hopefully that game doesn't suck. But it has like all the RPG elements that I enjoy. Like I get to character creator. If there's a game that lets me to create my character, I want to play that game. I love creating a fucking character. I don't know why. I just like the idea of being able to do something different and be something different. There might be some thing around like that about like being like, I don't want to be a white man in every game. So it might be something like that. Maybe games are just too racist and I need them to just have different characters. But I just love when I can make my own character. When we talk about role-playing games, it's really funny because like, aren't all games playing a role? Like, aren't you playing a role in every? It's not you. You know what I mean?
Right. And that was the kind of a question that I posed to when we were talking about it in our group chat. I was like, okay, so what qualifies as an RPG then? It's such a vague-ish term at this point that it's like, okay, because like, for example, I was just going through games, like writing down every single game that I thought had some kind of RPG element to it. And the range is ridiculous. Like, I have games that go from Assassin's Creed nowadays current Assassin's Creed yeah, there's like skill trees, open world. You can create it. It's not really create a character, but like some of the most recent ones, there's choices you can make that do change the story and stuff. I'm like, those are RPG elements.
Yep.
It's not, you don't think that of an Assassin's Creed game, but they are. And then it ranges from like very much RPG elements like a Dark Souls where you could play as a completely different build in any way you want in that game, or Elden Ring, something like that. Like you see people playing Elden Ring like 12 times and beating it with 12 completely different characters and stuff like that. Like Devin said, The Witcher, stuff like that. Hell, even fucking the Avengers game that nobody played and liked has weird RPG elements in that game.
Yeah, they shouldn't have.
It's weird, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're at a weird place in games. I don't know if like the action game genre really exists anymore almost, because it seems like it's gotten kind of like RPG has creeped into it so much that it's almost become like two of the same things.
Right.
So like what for you guys is like the most important element to an RPG? Is it like a character creation, or is it a skill tree, or like, because I honestly don't know for myself. So like I forget, I've been talking about past weeks. I recently played Final Fantasy VII Remake, and it's not like I'm not creating anyone that characters. I'm not really, there's like skill trees, and like so you can kind of have different builds in that game in the sense of maybe you want to go with a fire spell instead of blizzard or whatever, you know what I mean? But like it's not really super in depth. You're still doing the same story every time. Mostly there are some things in there, but mostly it's like pretty linear. But is that an RPG? Yes, but it's interesting, you know?
For me, it's two things. One, a skill tree. One thing that you can change the way your character reacts to the environment. I think that has to exist.
Like a progression.
Yep. And then two, some sort of inventory or equipment management. There got to be something where you can change something about your character. You're taking off clothes, putting on clothes, they give abilities plus stats, things like that. There's got to be some sort of like numbers game in there that exists.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's really the only two things that I think that like stay stagnant with every RPG. Everything else can be so vastly different. Because we've talked about a lot of Western RPGs so far with like Starfield coming out and Skyrim and stuff like that. But yeah, we have like Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy is like the RPG, is like the role-playing game that's known like a household.
Right.
And those games, the old games especially, those were turn-based role-playing games. You did two things. You went through your inventory and looked stupid for like an hour, and you fought by taking turns. And that's what you do. And that's changed a lot. Final Fantasy 16 is basically Devil May Cry at this point.
Yeah,
oh my gosh.
And people are not happy about it. Some people.
It's the closest, it's like probably the furthest from an RPG Final Fantasy has ever been, but technically it still is, you know?
It is.
Yeah.
Because I guess like that's the thing with that, is like specifically that series, is that series is built on, it's an anthology and it can be different every single time.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Which is kind of awesome. Like I just keep doing it, you know, whatever.
I think for me at RPG, I feel like the progression is important, but you know, I guess inventory kind of goes with that. But I think for me, what I think about is like, you know, multiplayer is so huge now, like games like Fortnite, Call of Duty, stuff like that. RPGs is like.
Are you telling me Fortnite's an RPG?
No. I'm saying. I mean, but technically though, every single round you do is kind of an RPG arc. Like you pick up equipment, you get better equipment, you fight.
I think there's a character creator in Fortnite.
I mean,
I'm just
every time you tell a different story. So it's kind of like all the elements of an RPG but you do it in multiple rounds. And I think that's what was so addictive about those like the battle royale games. It's like every time you can do a different story, right? But that's a whole other thing.
I'm not letting you get that takeoff. I'm not buying into Call of Duty's an RPG.
No, I'm not arguing it is. I'm just saying the same things, the things that you love about RPGs are like the adventure and like leveling up your gear and like, you know, getting better stuff as you go. All the battle royale games do that.
Devin is one step away from saying Rocket League's an RPG.
This is where it's headed. It's definitely headed that way.
That's where he's going.
No, but because of games like Rocket League and stuff like that, I feel like for me, the thing I love about RPGs is that's just single player and you're going on an adventure, right? So you're the immersion into a world, I think for me is the key. Building a good world that is worth exploring, or at least having a good story in, because not all of them are open worlds. Some of them are pretty linear and like you don't get to, you know, explore a ton, but you're just kind of going through a story.
Right.
So, you know, the story and exploration and world building, I think for me, those are the biggest things with an RPG. And then that kind of naturally lends itself to open world, and why so many have tried it is because if you're trying to have people explore a story or this world or whatever, open world is just, you know, makes more opportunities for that to let them actually see more of it.
Which I guess like it just made me have the thought that like, and if you don't have an answer, it's fine, because I don't know if I have one either, just because I feel like my RPG experience is limited. But like, what would you say is the truest form of RPG then game wise? Is it a Witcher, or is it a Final Fantasy, or is it a Mass Effect? You know what I mean? Because like, I don't know if there is a truest one, because I think there's so many elements to what make an RPG an RPG. Even like, just for example, like the open world to more linear story. What's more RPG-esque? Is it an open world
I would say
or not?
I would say no. I think saying the truest form of RPG is hard because there's kind of subsets to it. We were making the joke about JRPG, but there's a very when people use that term, they're talking about a very specific type of RPG. All Japanese RPGs usually start with you being some little boy with a shovel that can't do anything, and then by the end you're fighting God. Like that's just the arc of of most Japanese RPGs, just how they kind of go. And I'm kind of joking, but I'm also not
Fighting God.
It's literally, if you skip 8 pages, you're fighting God the next chapter. That's just how it goes. Before we got into really big studios making really big action games the way they do now with like The Last of Us and stuff like that, which has RPG elements, of course. RPGs was where you told like the truest stories, like the biggest stories, because you have a lot of these games are usually like 40 hours at least,
right?
So you have a lot of time to tell a really enriching story. So that's why I liked RPGs growing up so much, for that reason. But then there's also like the RPG element of kind of like the Dark Souls kind of things. Like Baldur's Gate was very dungeon crawly, and that was kind of the thing. You wanted to go in, make your character cool, get some cool gear, so you beat up on some baddies in some dungeons, you get out of there, you taught some people, and then you go and do it again. But the big part was supposed to be like making your character more powerful is what was fun about it, more so than the storyline. Whereas like Final Fantasy VII, the original one, they want to tell you a really, really good story. And like the combat's kind of takes second to that. There's not even like that much gear you can really get in the game. Like it's pretty easy to find it. It kind of comes about you as you're walking around, as opposed to like grinding for it or something like that. It depends on which I guess you're talking about.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Before, because I just thought of another one. Before we move on, we did talk about addressing the whole JRPG kind of conversation that's been happening, in the sense that it's very much has a negative connotation, in the sense that Japan didn't get a say in the term JRPG when it came about, and it was mostly used negatively apparently back in the early 2000s, 2010s.
I don't know if anyone's seen that X-Play clip from G4 where they were being flat out racist.
Let's not do that. I did see recently that Platinum Games, who, listeners, if you don't know, is a studio that makes what they made, Bayonetta. That's like the biggest thing they made, is the Bayonetta series, which they've now said that they can call those games J Action, not Hideki Kamiya, who works at Platinum Games. So J Action apparently is the new term that they prefer, but he also said that he's proud of the term JRPG. So I think that's just interesting that they're very different. Obviously, even within the Japanese community of game developers, there's different thoughts about it.
Yeah, I guess it depends on the person, honestly.
Yeah,
if you're in the conversation, it just feels good to be in the conversation. So some people just probably like that, but at the same time, I can see why people could be offended by it, because I mean, when you say Japanese, you say JRPG, you mean something very specific. Whether that's good or bad, it depends. I don't know. I think I only like it, and it could be any identifier. It doesn't have to be JRPG, but any identifier that makes me like instantly know what they're talking about is helpful. It's unfortunate that it has that negative connotation, but I do like that, because that makes me like realize like, oh, okay, that might be a game I'm interested in because it's that kind of RPG.
Right.
Yeah,
if you're into that genre.
Exactly.
I feel like if it's a genre, there's no problem. But if it has that kind of connotation of like, ew, JRPG, that's like the bad thing.
Which, I mean, they make a ton of them. There's a ton of Japanese RPGs that do exist. A lot of them are incredibly mediocre. And that's not, that's not that's just at the fault of just the studios themselves. That's nothing to do with the location of the game that's made. So I think that's probably the biggest thing. That's the issue that comes from it. Like if you have a Nintendo Switch, there's a game coming out every week that's called something Star Tale Knights of the Round Order 3x7, and it could be the best game you've ever played, but you're never gonna play it because you don't even know what the fuck the name of the game is.
Every fucking Nintendo whatever YouTube video conference they have, 40 minutes of it is just a different Stardew Valley game. I'm like, oh my lord. Holy shit.
The girls are eating. The girlies are eating these days. They got so many farming sims.
But no, you were talking about Baldur's Gate a little bit before, and so it just made me think of a different RPG that we have not talked about yet at all. Dragon Age, which is a series that I have played like half of the first game, loved it. got stuck in the dwarf section because it was too damn long. I had already played that game for like 70 hours. I was like, I can't do this. I need a break.
Oh,
and that break has now lasted like 15 years or 10 years or whatever. I don't know.
I need you to pick it back up. That game's
I need to too, but I got to boot up my PS3 to do that.
Boo.
It's just not going to happen. I'll be honest with you.
I really loved that game, though. I'm not going to lie. It's a great game.
I'm on Devin about Inquisition as well, because I don't think you beat that, did you, Devin?
No, I did eventually.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah. Better. I had to do the thing where I like had it on the 360, then I got it on the copy on the Xbox One, and you had to like go to like this merchant to like transfer your data through the cloud. It was this crazy thing that you had to do in the game.
It was like an in-game
that's
thing?
Really
what
weird.
the fuck?
It was like an in-game method they had for like
that's hilarious.
Transitioning your save data, and then you could pick up right where you left off.
That's very cool and like very RPG in and of itself, but that is dumb as hell.
Yeah, I hate that idea of doing that.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you though, I'm very glad I did not have to restart, because good Lord, I would never have restarted that game.
I'll play that game one day. I own it. I'll play it one day.
You should play I think all three are amazing. That actually game was a sleeper hit for me. I wasn't going to play it because it was hideous. It was a hideous game on Xbox 360. It looked awful.
Are you talking about the first one?
Yeah, the first one.
Oh yeah, it's ugly as shit.
It was a really ugly game. Looks much better on PC. Also, you can get mods, thank God.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, oh, well, I don't really care about this. And that was when I still wasn't a fantasy girly at that point. And then my friend was like, you want to borrow this game? I'm like, okay. So then I put it in my Xbox and I played it, and I was like, holy shit, this game is amazing.
Yeah.
And then I beat it really quickly, and I love it. It's another one of those games that I beat like once every couple of years, probably.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
No,
choice-based.
It's fantastic.
Choice-based. That's become a new RPG staple right now. They love making choices in RPGs, and I love it too. I love making choices. I don't know why. That's like my favorite type of game. I love fucking up a story by being a really big dick.
I remember, speaking of choices, side tangent, when me and Brian both played the final season of the Walking Dead game, the Telltale series. Brian discussed our endings, and he's like, I just don't know why my ending wasn't as good. And based on what Brian just said, I think we all know why.
Yeah, I usually play a game. If there's a choice-based game, I play it two ways. So I play it once. I play it as like, oh, myself. What choices would I make in these situations if I was, super powerful wizard or whatever the fuck I am? And then I play it again as a really big dick. Every single time I got to see what happens if I'm just an asshole, and that's why my Mass Effect 2 character literally dies at the end. Because if you're just a really awful at your job and is really bad, your character will die. It's slight spoiler for Mass Effect 2.
How did that work with Mass Effect 3 if you imported
you don't
that save?
Get to play Mass Effect 3 if you import that save. You don't get to play with that save.
They're like, nope, your story ended.
You literally
with 2.
just don't even get to play.
Yeah, because
put it back in the box and just take it back to the store.
Yeah, but you know what? It was probably a better ending than 3 was, right?
Oh, yeah.
Got him.
They tried to
still a better ending than 3. Yeah, that's true.
Hey, that game retroactively is really good now that Andromeda exists.
I'll finish that series as well.
Okay, so with games like, those both are specifically from BioWare, but BioWare, man, they would throw some deep themes into their games that taught you about the world, like, about racism and politics and, how power works and different vying factions. I feel like The Witcher had a lot of that as well. I think for me, that's why RPGs, the story is so important to convey a message, right? Like, what are you trying to say with this story? With a lot of games, the story is not that important, or maybe it doesn't even have one. But RPGs, I feel like the story must be engaging. Well, I'm just saying,
I'm pretty sure with Baldur's Gate 3 that just came out, I think the message is people just want to fuck a bear.
And I'm gonna.
Because I'm pretty sure, Devin, if you didn't know that, you can fuck a bear in that game.
What the fuck?
I'm pretty sure he's a druid.
What furries were on the development team there?
You get a choice of him potentially being a bear for him. I don't know.
Am
I gonna do it?
Which I'm just saying, is that bestiality if you fuck the druid in bear form?
Yes. Next question.
Is that a crime?
Yes. Next question.
Okay. All right.
What if the bear was just like the goofy, like furry, like masks? Like whatever the graphic style is, it just turns into like when he's in bear form, it just turns into that like those big eyes and like the goofy stuff.
It's just completely out of it's like not fitting in with the world around it.
That's gonna be a mod, 100%.
Oh yeah.
Someone's listening to this right now and they're writing it up right now. Where you just turn into a furry and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, it'd be so funny.
Yeah. Other game I want to ask you about real quick, if this is an RPG, because I guess like it is an element to an RPG, you can play it multiple different ways. Or no?
I'm not sure.
I don't think so.
No,
I don't think so. I think because some, I mean, it depends on the genre, but I think some, it's like everybody follows the same path, right?
right.
Witcher, for example, like everybody's limited by the same structure there, and you can have choice of like what methods you employ, but everybody's bound by the same like character build.
Right.
So, or like, God of War, something like that. Like
That's
RPG.
kind of where I was leading. There's some elements to God of War where, especially in the not the old God of War, the new two God of Wars, the Norse mythology ones, where you can there's a skill tree and there's gear choices, but all the story choices it's linear. There's no choice made by the story. You don't get to customize what Kratos looks like other than like his clothing and gear or whatever.
Mhm.
Those are RPG elements, though, right?
Yeah.
No, that's definitely an RPG.
I don't know if I'd call it definitely an RPG. It's a AAA game, is what it is.
Right.
Unfortunately,
Right.
It's an action RPG.
I wonder if they would even say that themselves.
It's interesting,
think
right?
so?
Because like
Yeah.
I want to know like how different is that to Bayonetta, which some people would consider an RPG as well.
I don't know if I consider either of those RPGs, to be honest.
Right. Or is that just an action adventure game? It's weird, man.
It's tough. It's getting tough because the lines are definitely blurry. There's a lot of mix right now, and that was kind of my issue with AAA games. It's like Gears of War 5 is fucking open world. It didn't need to be. It also has RPG elements.
Is it really?
Yes, uh-huh.
I mean, dude, I feel like the industry just kind of uses RPG as like a catch-all term for anything that's not Call of Duty. So
Right.
I mean, honestly,
right.
anything that's not
You have shooters and then everything else.
right.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, I mean, wouldn't you say Breath of the Wild is an RPG?
For sure, absolutely. Which is funny because it's definitely not an RPG that we're talking about so far, but it is one.
Right.
Okay, is Ocarina of Time an RPG?
Ooh, no.
I don't know.
I would
See, so what's yeah, I don't know.
It's the same game, but
I would
the
argue they
line
both
there's
are.
no line. The line has been shattered.
yeah. He's asking the tough questions now. That's interesting.
For me, I'm with the industry. Like anything that's not Call of Duty is an
It's
RPG.
an RPG. I mean, even Call of Duty, I'm playing a role. I'm usually some guy, some white guy. I don't care about him,
It's
but I
true.
am a dude.
No, I always
didn't
pick
feel
a lady
bad when my guy
Call of
got
Duty.
shot in Call of Duty 4.
Yeah. If it's third person and there's a story, maybe I'm the main character, maybe I built this character, but either way, it's an RPG. So
Well, no, because it made me also think of a separate game in terms of you can play it various different ways. Is the Metal Gear series an RPG?
Well, I've only really played 1 and 2, so I don't know.
Just because, like, obviously, like the two obvious things is you can stealth run those games, or you can just go guns blazing.
Yeah, that's not a fucking RPG.
No?
Really, because you can do the same thing with like Dishonored, which does have RPG elements. But
right.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough.
Interesting question. It's got me thinking.
Yeah, I
about
told
some
you, I was
things.
like, I was just writing them all down. I was like, what the fuck are these games?
What are these games? What is this? There's definitely a blend that's happened that I'm not sure how I feel about, like with action games specifically. That you can't. I don't know too many just straight action games anymore, like action adventure games. They all kind of have RPG elements now.
The only one that I can think of is whatever Naughty Dog's making.
I mean, you level up stuff in that game. You level up your equipment and stuff like that.
That's also true. You upgrade your weapons. That's a good point.
That's an RPG element.
And there are skill trees. They're not skill trees, but there's like a skill list of you getting upgrades.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah.
it's true.
Yeah, man.
Those darn AAA games, I'll tell you what.
Yeah. Is Kingdom Hearts an RPG?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, right.
Action
Okay.
RPG. It was like the beginning of like the modernized, not very RPG, but it's an action RPG.
Right.
Because I mean, what do you put on? You put on like a different, I don't know, like you put on a different keyblade,
Right,
and
yeah.
like a buckler, and that's about it. Like,
Well, then, okay, wait, hold on then. By that logic, God of War 4 is definitely an RPG.
Devin, I think you're onto something.
I'm just saying it's made by Square Enix, so it's gonna be an RPG. Because
Yeah, I mean, I think that was like one of the biggest takes from when that first God of War in 2018 came out was like, oh shit, God of War is not only different aesthetically and like mythology wise, but like this they added RPG elements to
Mhm.
a game that used to just be a button masher. You know?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Well, we've answered the question. So we've really come really
We've done a
far.
great job.
We've answered the question with the question. More questions,
Yeah.
actually.
Right. I'm now
glad we
more
settled this
confused
for
than
the
ever.
people. I'm glad we've settled the RPG debate. What is an RPG forever?
Call of Duty is an RPG, is what we've come down to.
Yep. Yeah. It's an RPG that has an RPG in it.
Yeah.
Fortnite is an RPG every round you play.
I won't let that one stand. I can't let you do it. Can't let you do it. I don't care if you can choose to be Master Chief or Kratos in that game and it doesn't count.
That's true. You can be RPG characters in that game.
Look at it this way, Oscar. You can be Kratos. You can pick up different weapons, some of which are better than others.
No. Nope.
And eventually you level up a little bit and you fight other people. How is it different from God of War 4? It's literally the same game.
You got me. You got me. I got nothing for you.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, man.
What's everyone's favorite RPG?
Ooh.
Oh. Whew.
I'll go first. I love Final Fantasy X a whole lot, and I plan on replaying that soon because I like that game. I wouldn't say it's my favorite, but it's definitely up there. One of my tops, for sure. Of course, also like Knights of the Old Republic, Star Wars, the best Star Wars game to ever come out.
Let's talk about that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a BioWare game. If you talk about one, you're talking about them all, right?
Yeah. Honestly, I think I'll say Mass Effect this time, not Witcher. I mean, because Witcher is like so different, and I feel like Mass Effect, I still think about like the choices, and like the whole trilogy was such an ambitious thing, and like the choice element, and like so kind of how your impact on the story and the magic system, quote unquote, but just so new. So I loved Mass Effect.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those games that I will probably think about for the rest of my life, which is really weird to say.
Yeah.
We talked about the world building and stuff like that. World building is so important in like RPGs, and you have the time to do it. A lot of RPGs have a lot of fucking talking. You're going to be listening to people talk a lot or reading people talk, one of the two. That seems to be a pretty big thing on RPGs right now. But yeah, like the geopolitics and stuff that happen in that game, some of the stuff that you deal with, like that's real shit right there. That's real shit. That's super cool. Love it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I did love that first Mass Effect.
Agreed.
It was a phenomenal game.
We got to play the second one. That's the best one.
I got to play the second one. I know. I might have to go with something like however many hours I put into Witcher is out there. Obviously, like the first Mass Effect, all the games I haven't finished are great games.
I love that. That's so funny to me. Like, as someone that likes to 100% games and like spend 40, 60, 100 hours on games, I'm surprised you don't like more RPGs. And your PlayStation
I like 40 hours, not 400 hours, Brian. How long it would take to 100% those games,
don't
I can't.
100% on those games. The only RPG I probably 100% it was like Final Fantasy VII, the original one. And that's not hard to 100%.
Right. I'm very close to 100%ing the remake, and that is not very hard. So again, very linear game. So
another one, Chrono Trigger, an amazing RPG that I say everyone should play. That's a really great game.
Yeah, I remember you telling me. I've never played it, but I do remember. Isn't that like Fire Emblem adjacent?
Kind of. Akira Toriyama actually did the artwork that from Dragon Ball Z.
Oh, that's interesting.
Great game. There's 11 endings. You can beat the game in 30 minutes if you want to. Super cool.
Is that ending just die and that's how it ends?
You technically can fight the final boss really early in the game and beat them if you have the skills to do so.
I think I think Breath of the Wild had a similar thing. I think you could go straight up and fight fucking Ganondorf, and it'd be hard, but you could win.
That sounds miserable.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. You know what? I'm just gonna give it to Dark Souls, a game I still haven't beaten, but that's a fucking such a great game.
That's the only Dark Souls I've actually beaten is the first one, and I didn't have fun a single moment of that game. That's why
it's not about fun, Brian.
I don't see the appeal. I don't really get it.
I
tried to play Bloodborne.
I don't get it.
And Bloodborne had me very confused. I didn't know what I was doing or where to go. And
I tell you, I played that Lies of P demo. That game is fun as hell.
Really? I said I was gonna download it. I can get it on Xbox Game Pass, so I'll probably play it when it comes out. But I don't know. I'm just not interested in really hard. I don't have the time to deal with really hard games. You know what I mean?
No, it's fair.
I can't sit down and play a game for 3 hours and get nowhere. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
You got to have a lot of time and commitment for those kind of games. It's like, for me, you got to have fun playing games. So it's like, hey, let's just take all the fun out of it and just make it absolute abject misery. Makes no sense.
Yeah, I can't do games that make me frustrated anymore. I'm getting too old. Give me the easy mode.
Yep.
Yeah, fair enough. Did you guys have any other final what the hell's an RPG thoughts?
Everyone should play Baldur's Gate 3 and also play Divinity Original Sin 2 if you want to play a cheaper version of the same game. That game's amazing. It is.
I'm about to say,
really hard games. That game is really fucking hard. That's probably the biggest con of that game is you have to really pay attention to how to play.
No shit.
It is difficult.
There you go. I don't know what we're gonna call this, guys, but I kind of like Devin was leading on to State of the Union, and so we'll have to
RPGs.
Something. We'll have to come up with a new term for this. I don't know, but anyways, that means that is our main topic, listeners. Guys, shall we now move into our final segment of the week?
Let's do it.
Which we like to call free for all listeners. This is a segment where we can kind of do whatever we want. We can recommend something, talk about our day, talk about life, fight, nap. It is free for all. I will very quickly go first because I watched a movie this week. because the new Ninja Turtles movie came out in theaters. I think it came out this past week. I didn't go see that. Instead, I watched the sequel to that live action Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie that came out like 5 years ago because I had never watched the second one.
I didn't like the first one.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh shit!
It was called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows. It came out, I think, in 2017, 16, 17. I think it was 16 maybe. It was actually kind of fun. It was like a live action version of that 80s 90s cartoon for an hour and 45 minutes. It was actually a lot of fun. I was like, damn, this was actually really good. I'm mad that no one saw this movie. It was kind of it's for kids, like that cartoon was. Because if we were to all go back and watch that cartoon now, we'd probably be like, man, this show was dumb as hell. But I could imagine this was like showing this to a kid who's a fan of the Ninja Turtles. Like it was just a lot of fun. It had a lot of the fucking elements of that show. Obviously, there's fucking Bebop and Rocksteady that are in there. Shredder's still in there. Blah blah blah. I never hated the first live action one as much as most people. From when I saw it, I was like, that was kind of fun. It's kind of weirdly all over the place, and like you can tell that they added some Shredder elements that weren't there in the first place, and some reshoots that are weird.
The issue for me was it was too Michael Bay.
Yes.
That was what made me like. It just felt like I was watching Transformers, but they put different characters in
a little bit. And I think the second one does a better job at that, and because it's not as Transformers-y, Michael Bay generic when it comes to the characters and the action pieces. Like it seems like the set pieces were funner in this one. I would say. Like there's a really fun opening sequence where they introduced the turtle van, which is I thought was really fun to do. They use it once and it never comes back, but I was like, that was fun. Like I was driving the first 10 minutes of this movie. I was like, that was fun. That was a good time.
That's funny.
So, it was good. I do want to. I'm probably not going to go to theaters, but I hear that new Ninja Turtles movie is pretty good. Also, shout out to God of War Ragnarok.
One note, Oscar, the only sequel you need to see is the original one from like the 90s.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Secret of the Ooze?
TMNT,
hell yeah.
Secret of the Ooze.
Oh, hell yeah,
Fantastic movie.
I love the colors.
Hell yeah. Yeah.
But I did go to the movies and see exactly that.
Nice.
Saw the Ninja Turtles, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem.
Oh my God, we're all Devin. If you don't have a Ninja Turtles based free for all, you're out.
Yeah, my friends invited me to see it. I saw the reviews and I saw that it actually wasn't bad, so I was like, oh, maybe I will go see it someday. But I wasn't like super enthused about it. But my friends wanted to see it, so I was like, okay, sure, why not? I'll go take a look. That movie is damn good. It is a damn good movie. I was impressed by what I saw. When I saw Seth Rogen was directing it. Not directing her, like he co-wrote and produced whatever.
Stuff.
Yeah. I was like, I don't love Seth Rogen. I don't like anyone whose personality is just marijuana. That's not really cool. So Seth Rogen's never really jived with me too much, and I never really liked his sense of humor.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a well-written movie. It's an interesting take on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and kind of like their origin story is what this one's about. The art style, like the art direction, is really, really phenomenal. They definitely took some stuff from Spider-Verse. And made it a little bit sketchier, a little more hand-drawn-ish and stuff like that. But they still nailed it like really well. It didn't feel like it was lazy done or anything like that. Obviously, for children, like the movie that you saw, obviously is for kids.
Right.
So it's a little, but they do drop some dams and some hells in there quite a bit.
I was about to say, is it more for children than like a Spider-Verse was?
Yes, definitely.
Oh,
it's definitely more. It's Nickelodeon.
Right.
Got right. So that's why it's probably more towards that. But I was still surprised about some of the references were really like... racy at one point.
Very quickly, minor spoilers, listeners, for the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem animated movie. Just check time codes.
Oh, he's saying Seth Rogen, he plays what the fuck's his name?
He's a random mutant or something.
Yeah, he's Bebop. Seth Rogen.
Oh, okay.
And he says that he's roused. And he says, I think I'm roused right now. I'm properly roused. Obviously making a joke on being aroused. Like they put a lot of stuff in there. Ice Cube is in this movie as the main villain for some fucking reason.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
He does great. He does really, really good. He talks about mollywhopping people, and he literally references one of his songs at one point. There's an Attack on Titan reference. There's 2 Attack on Titan references in this goddamn movie. And I don't know why.
That's really like line references or like visual gag references?
One's a line reference, and then there's another point in which Donatello actually uses his knowledge from watching Attack on Titan.
That's fucking hilarious. Oh my God.
Which is really funny known as the children's movie, because you're saying this and children should 100% not watch Attack on Titan.
Right.
One is super gory, and two, they'll all become fascists. So we need to steer them away from that. Yeah, so I would recommend it. I think that people should definitely see it. I had a good time. There was a crying baby in there, and that pissed me off. But other than that, I had
Dang. I will definitely see that with my nieces, which I guess speaking of good humor in a kid's movie, I watched on Peacock when my nieces were in town this weekend, and I watched the Super Mario Brothers movie.
Oh, and yeah.
I gotta say, for me, maybe it's just because I didn't see it in theaters, but for me, the humor felt really flat, but the action was really cool, and visually, I thought it was very well done.
Yeah.
But man, just like, I don't know, for whatever reason, I just never laughed at anything.
I mean, I don't think it's the funniest movie. I think like literally it's the visuals that I enjoyed the most, obviously.
It was a beautiful movie, but it felt very corporate. I guess
it felt written by Chat GPT.
Yeah, that's probably the best way to put it. The plot was very bad. And every time Chris Pratt talked, I was like, they could have gotten somebody else.
He was the worst part, for sure.
Yeah, he was. But yeah, I mean, it was enjoyable. But I think Jack Black was obviously the best part.
Oh, he carried the hell out of that movie. He put that on his back.
And then I watched with them also another night, which somehow they had never seen before either. The SpongeBob movie. That movie, man, you got to be high to watch that.
That movie's a lot. The one with David Hasselhoff in it.
I was about to say that.
No. He wasn't in that one. It was with like the dolphin, like they're trying to like restore the Krabby Patty formula to Bikini Bottom, and they like become superheroes at the end.
Man, I haven't seen anything SpongeBob since 1999.
Dude, it was great though. Like it was so funny.
Really,
I never knew it was going to happen next. It's the one with Antonio Banderas, I think.
I don't know if I've seen that one. That must have been another one.
I don't know how many SpongeBob movies there have been.
That's
to be honest.
Also fair. Yeah, I only know the one with David Hasselhoff in it because they made a joke and they made a toy out of him, and that was the whole thing.
Well, that was a much better movie than Super Mario movie. So, I was
really?
Yeah.
SpongeBob has good jokes. That's a good show. So I can see it being a good movie.
No shit. There you go.
They've got good writers on their team for sure.
That's dope, man. That is our show, listeners. You can email us at thefortressof@gmail.com. Fortress spelled FOUR. Feel free to email us any questions, feedback, recommendations, or anything like that. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and the YouTube channel at The Fortress of. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your grandma, tell your cat. Follow the 3 R's like a beautiful Bollywood movie. Rate, review, and recommend us to everyone and anyone you know. Thank you, Jackie, for helping edit the podcast every week. Thank you, Brian, for the art. Thank you, Alex, for the music. And Devin, thank you for being here, even when you're not here. You can find Brian on Instagram at ITZ_ by the way, Alex at Peterson Films, and Devin at TMNT Hater.
You can find me hydrating for the next 7 to 10 days.
Please, God, do that.
Find Devin at Still Has a Kidney for now.
I want to say, find Devin on the donor list.
We wish you well, Devin. Please. Please be all right.
So
Liquid IV. We're not sponsored, but Liquid IV, everyone.
Yes, buy Liquid IV. Official plug.
Next week, I don't know. It's another mystery, listeners, but you know that we'll be here talking about some shit. Having a good time about it. It'll be great. Mm-hmm. With that, happy holidays, and put a code on his code out there.
Pretty sure there's kids in my pool right now at like 11 o'clock at night. And I feel that's really weird.
Ain't that pool supposed to be closed?
That's what I assume, dangerous. But I hear children screaming.
I know there's no lifeguard.
Hey man, let them swim. It's hot.
That's a fuck it.
I wish I had a pool.
We'll see. Devin's kidney needs a pool right now. All right, we'll see you here next week in another episode in the Fourtress of